In this video, we will venture into the unknown and reveal the secrets kept by Antarctica. In the hidden world under the ice, we will discover a lake the size of a city, millions of fish nests, huge underground rivers, and 1 million years old DNA that will shock you and capture your curiosity. This journey will reveal to you some of the latest incredible discoveries made in Antarctica. Hidden world under the ice. Scientists from the National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research in Auckland, New Zealand, have made a remarkable discovery in Antarctica. They found a never-before-seen hidden ecosystem deep beneath the Larsen Ice Shelf, which is a floating sheet of ice attached to the east coast of the Antarctic Peninsula, known for giving birth to the largest iceberg in the 2021 winter. The team researched the underground chamber by making a borehole 500 meters below the surface of the ice using a hot water hose. When they lowered a camera through the hole, they were surprised to find that it was full of swarms of tiny crustaceans known as amphipods. This discovery was unexpected, as the team had not suspected the presence of any form of life so deep below the ice surface. Craig Stevens, a physical oceanographer at NIWA, said the presence of the amphipods means there's an important ecosystem process going on there. Experts have long suspected that Antarctica has a vast network of underground waterways, but until now, these features have been poorly studied. That is why the discovery of this new habitat is of great importance. The resulting hull is very wide and has steep undulations near the ceiling, which is different from what the researchers expected. They also found that the water column is divided into 4 or 5 separate layers flowing in opposite directions, which will require further study. The researchers set up camp near the buried river just before the Hunga Tonga Hunga Hapai volcano erupted in Tonga. The explosion caused pressure waves registered by sensors placed on the surface of the ice. This shows that even hidden ecosystems like this are inextricably linked to the rest of the planet. However, scientists are worried that this ecosystem could be at risk from rapidly warming temperatures caused by climate change. The climate is changing, and some key focal points are still not understood by science, says Stevens. But what there is no doubt about is that big changes are happening right now. The team plans to continue exploring the newly discovered subsurface ecosystem in hopes of learning more about how nutrients in the water move through Antarctica's underground water networks to support the life that exists there. The discovery of this hidden ecosystem provided a glimpse into a previously unknown world. The presence of amphipods and the structure of the water chamber were unexpected and provide new information that will require further investigation. Research is only just beginning, as the discovery was made last year. 1 million years old DNA. Last year, an exciting discovery was made in the Scotch Sea north of mainland Antarctica. As part of a study that began in 2019, led by the International Ocean Exploration Program, scientists collected sediment samples of ancient DNA, cetadNA, that date back to about 1 million years ago. It is the oldest cetadNA ever recovered from seafloor sediments and sheds light on the potential impact of climate change on the region's ecosystem. The research was published in the journal Nature Communications. The team of researchers looked at the patterns of damage in the DNA fragments to determine their age and found that the oldest fragments were about 1 million years old. This beats the previous record for the oldest cetadNA found, which was locked in the Arctic permafrost and dated to about 650,000 years ago. The preservation of these DNA samples is due to the low temperatures, reduced oxygen concentration, and lack of ultraviolet radiation in the area. Although the species of the oldest cetadNA has not yet been identified, it is known to be eukaryotic, meaning it came from an animal, plant, or fungus. Analysis of the fragments from the Scotia Sea suggests that there was an explosion in diatom abundance around 540,000 years ago during the Earth's natural warming phase. This was probably caused by the significant loss of the Antarctic ice sheet and the increase in ocean temperature, which fueled the rapid growth and reproduction of the diatoms. The researchers believe that studying the response of the polar marine ecosystem to environmental changes during earlier periods of warming is crucial to our understanding of how it will change in the future. Antarctica is considered one of the most vulnerable regions on Earth in terms of climate change, which makes this research very important. Millions of fish nests. Another incredible discovery made in recent months was by a team of archaeologists aboard the German icebreaker RV Polarstern in the Weddell waters of Antarctica. During a seafloor monitoring mission, the team came across the largest breeding fish colony known to date, with an estimated 60 million ice fish nests, covering an area of 93 square miles, 240 square kilometers. The nests observed on the seabed were created by notothenoid icefish, Neopagetopsis iona, a species of fish native to the southern oceans, known for lacking hemoglobin in their blood, making them white-blooded. Most nests contained one adult icefish, guarding an average about 1,700 eggs. The team was in the area to study upwelling water that was 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 degrees Celsius, warmer than the surrounding waters. This rising water column provides an ideal breeding and food environment for icefish. Warmer water at the surface is important, since young fish of this species swim to the surface to feed on microscopic zooplankton before returning to the seafloor. In addition to the live fish guarding the nests, the team found dead fish scattered throughout the area, suggesting the huge colony was an important part of the local ecosystem and likely served as prey for the seals. This discovery led to a procedure to declare the area a marine protected area within the framework of the International Commission for the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources. The icefish colony appeared to have a distinct boundary, which was found to be the outer edge of the warm upswelling. The team also leaves 2 cameras in the area to continue monitoring the ecosystem, because there is much more to discover in this unique and rare environment. A lake the size of a city under the largest ice sheet. One of the latest publications in the journal Geology tells about scientists who made a remarkable discovery. They have found a lake the size of an entire city hidden under the world's largest ice cap. It is called Snow Eagle Lake, named after one of the Chinese aircraft that discovered it. It is located 2 miles, 3 kilometers and 200 meters under the ice in Princess Elizabeth Land on the East Antarctic ice sheet. With an area of 143 square miles, 370 square kilometers, Snow Eagle Lake is one of the largest subglacial lakes under the ice of Antarctica. The discovery was made after 3 years of aerial surveys using radar and special sensors designed to measure changes in the Earth's gravitational and magnetic fields. The lake, located just a few hundred miles from the ice sheet's edge, is believed to contain river sediments 34 million years old, older than the ice sheet itself. The discovery of this lake is of great scientific importance, as it may contain valuable information about the history of Antarctica, including its state before it froze, the changes that have occurred as a result of climate change, and what the increasingly warming world has in store for its future. The lake probably contains a complete record of the growth and evolution of the East Antarctic ice sheet, including its beginning more than 34 million years ago. Scientists first became aware of the lake's existence after spotting an indentation in satellite images of the ice sheet. Further overflights by aircraft equipped with radar, gravimeters, and magnetometers revealed the detailed geometry of the lake at its base. It is estimated to be 30 miles, 48 kilometers long, 9 miles, 14 kilometers wide, and 650 feet, 200 meters deep, containing about 5 cubic miles, 8 kilometers of water, and abundant ancient sediments. Researchers hope to get to them because they could help understand how a changing climate created the ice sheets. However, the task of retrieving the deposits will be difficult because they are sealed in several miles of ice in the coldest region on Earth. The discovery of Snow Eagle Lake is an exciting event in the field of polar research. It provides a wealth of information about the history of Antarctica and the impact of climate change on its past and future. Can you believe that this is only a small part of all the amazing discoveries made in the past years, lying hidden under the Antarctic ice? we were delighted.
More and more often, scientists talk about the inevitable. The future of humanity is unthinkable if it does not continue its natural course outside the Earth's orbit. As great as human curiosity is, it seems out of proportion to the scale of the universe, about which we know so little. On April 10, 1979, at 20 hours and 34 minutes Moscow time, the Soyuz 33 spacecraft was launched into orbit around the Earth. The first Bulgarian cosmonaut is on board. So many years after Georgy Ivanov's flight, for us the cosmos remains mostly a mystery, and a mystery in which we walk like newborns. In this video, we have collected for you some of the worst moments, conspiracies, and real events in outer space. Vladimir Kovalyonok describes his encounter with a UFO during the time when he was performing a space mission on the Salyut 6 station. On August 15, 1978, he observed a strange object periodically approaching and moving away from the orbiting station. Later, on August 29, he reported to ground control that a large spherical object was flying past the station. This event was also witnessed by his colleagues who were on board Salyut 6 at the same time, cosmonauts Alexander Ivanchenkov, Valery Bykovsky, and their colleague from East Germany, Sigmund Jähn. Vladimir Kovalyonok witnesses something unusual once again. On May 5, 1981 at approximately 6 p.m. again on a Salyut 6 mission, flying over South Africa from the Indian Ocean side. After completing the physical exercises prescribed by the regulations, Kovalyonok looks out the window and sees an incomprehensible object near the station. In space, it is almost impossible to determine sizes and distances by eye. It may seem to the observer that he sees a small object very close, but in fact it may be something huge, but located at a great distance, and vice versa. Then something unusual appears in the visible space. A strange object with an elliptical shape, flying at the same altitude as the station, on the same course, neither approaching nor receding. At the same time, it seems to rotate in the direction of movement, as if rolling forward along an invisible path laid in space. Suddenly, the astronaut is blinded by a flash of bright yellow light, resembling a silent explosion. The item has turned into a sparkling golden ball. The view was very beautiful, but it turns out that's just the beginning. A second or two later, somewhere out of the astronaut's field of vision, there must have been another similar silent explosion, because he sees a second, exactly the same bright golden ball. And then a cloud of smoke appears nearby, which also takes on a spherical shape. Soon after, it approaches the terminator, a term for the twilight line that separates day from night. As the station enters Earth's shadow and darkness falls, all three balls disappear from view. None of the crew members see them again. In 1984, a crew of 3 was aboard the Salyut 7 space station: Leonid Kizim, Oleg Atkov, Vladimir Solovyov. On day 155, the team went about their business as usual, preparing for laboratory experiments. At one point, the station is covered by an unusual orange dome, and everything inside is illuminated by a bright orange glow. For a short time, the astronauts completely lost their vision from the bright light. When it returns, they see through the porthole 7 creatures about 30 meters tall flying near the station. These creatures look like humans, but of enormous stature. Huge wings sprout from their backs, and halos shine around their heads. At the appearance of these creatures, the astronauts felt complete peace. According to crew members, for 10 minutes the humanoids flew at station speed. After 14 days, 3 more cosmonauts joined the crew of the station: Svetlana Savitskaya, Vladimir Dijanedkov and Igor Volk. Then, suddenly, everything around is illuminated again by the bright orange glow. Everyone looks through the portholes. Outside, the large creatures briefly appear again, radiating a sense of peace and tranquility. After the brief meeting, the team sends a report to Earth about the phenomenon that occurred. The employees at the control center were shocked. The 6 astronauts were immediately subjected to various psychological and medical tests, which showed that they had no problems and were completely healthy. The report is instant, strictly confidential. The astronauts were ordered to keep quiet about what happened. In 1995, during a lecture at the Novosibirsk Interstate Institute of Space Anthropology, test astronaut Sergei Krashevsky was the first to speak openly about this unusual phenomenon. He says, "Astronauts communicate information about such encounters only to each other. They share with those who will soon fly. Out there, in orbit, sometimes you can't tell what's a dream and what's reality." Sergei Krashevsky shares, "The transformations. A person suddenly undergoes one or several transformations, unexpectedly turns into some supernatural beast, but practically feels it in his skin. Rebirths can last as long as you want. Feeling every nerve, seeing his big blue nails, scales, even the membranes between his fingers, the former astronaut roams around an unknown planet and talks to its inhabitants. Later, he becomes something else. Imagine migrating into the body of a being from another era or another galaxy, simultaneously learning a new language, habits and customs. A world completely unknown to him. He takes it for granted. No space technology with this speed and ease is capable of transporting a person through space and time. All astronauts who have been in this state talk about a powerful flow of information entering them. These unusual phenomena related to the cosmos are a mystery to psychologists. Some attribute it to the fact that the state of consciousness changes under the influence of cosmic radiation and the constantly changing magnetic field. Others suggest the intervention of an extraterrestrial civilization. The damaged engine from the flight of the Bulgarian cosmonaut Georgy Ivanov and the Russian Nikolai Rukavishnikov created one of the most heartbreaking moments in space. When descending back to Earth, the weight increases 8 to 9 times, and they have to go 2.5 minutes without breathing, even though they only practice the situation for 30 seconds. From Earth, they panic because during these minutes neither George nor Nikolai answer the headquarters, since they have to keep their air. In the ears of both constantly echo the questions from ground control whether they can hear them. Finally, Nikolai's nerves fail, and he takes a great risk by making several lines to the people of Earth. Georgy Ivanov says that the thought of a fatal flight never crossed his mind. One of the most dramatic conspiracy theories of the 20th century is that of the lost astronauts. That's 13 people the theory says were sacrificed by the Russians before Gagarin's flight. Allegedly, in an attempt to win the space race with the US, the Soviet authorities sacrificed 13 cosmonauts and then erased all traces of their existence. Capsules burn up in the Earth's atmosphere, break up on landing, or are lost forever in the abyss of space before Yuri Gagarin's historic flight. All this is part of the bitter rivalry between the two powers during the Cold War. The death of Gagarin has also long been shrouded in mystery, for which all kinds of options are suspected. It is said that in the Russian archives there are 29 volumes of classified materials on the fatal incident with Yuri Alexeyevich in 1968. Cosmic whisper. It is an unusual phenomenon in which astronauts hear voices in their head and feel a foreign, invisible presence in the spacecraft. Often these voices tell them that their presence in space is not wanted, and that they have come too soon. He also tells them about things that only they know, secrets not shared with others. These details were revealed by an astronaut who wished to remain anonymous. On October 15, 2003, Chinese cosmonaut Yan Liwei landed 14 times around the Earth in 21 hours in the region of Inner Mongolia with his ship Shenzhou 5. In a recent interview, he recalled his trip into Earth orbit and recounted a knocking for no reason that sometimes came from space. He explains that the sound appeared suddenly, without any connection to any other signs. It was coming from outside and not inside the spacecraft, but it sounded like someone was banging on the hull like a wooden mallet on an iron bucket, Jan explains. The excited astronaut approached the porthole, trying to explain the reason, but everything was normal. After returning to Earth, he told specialists about the mysterious sounds. They tried to recreate the sound using different instruments, but all their attempts were unsuccessful. Later, the astronauts from the Shenzhou 6 and Shenzhou 7 space probes did the same. Before their flights, Livy warned them that the sound is a normal phenomenon, so there is no need to worry. Chinese astronauts are not the only conquerors of space who have encountered mysteries. Many of their other colleagues have reported hearing mysterious alien music. Russian cosmonauts mention unintelligible whispering and drumming on the International Space Station. Still others about dogs barking, children crying, bells ringing, and what not heard aboard spaceships. What could be the reason? Disruptions in radio communication with Earth? Aurora vibes? A space dustman? Or maybe these sounds have an extraterrestrial origin? The cosmos is a huge orchestra, each element of which sounds in its own way. It was these sounds that were recorded by the Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 spacecraft. Of course, the version about the presence of extraterrestrials should not be rejected either. Otherwise, how to explain the orders of voices from outside, which from time to time are heard in the heads of the cosmonauts?